y'all about ready to have church. Did anybody come to have church? Did anybody come to give God worship in this place? August, the 8th month of the year. You do know that 8 represents a new beginning. The first part of the year, watch this, at this point it don't count. Whatever you do going forward, God is giving you this 8th month to start anew. So we bless God for new beginning. In other words, it looks like your season. The songwriter says, I haven't been perfect, but I sure been faithful. Has anybody been faithful to God in this place? I don't know about you, but I bless God for a new season. Come on, let's give God a hand of praise. Come on, there is a word from the Lord. I'm excited about this new sermon series, Take the Land. I'm excited about this new series. Is there anybody who's excited about this new sermon series? I'm excited and ready to preach it. Tell your neighbor, I'm getting ready to take the land. Come on, well, let's see what the word of the Lord says. Come on, Joshua chapter 5. Located in your Bibles, in your smartphones, your devices. Amen. Wherever you have access to the word, located. Joshua chapter 5. Joshua chapter 5. Are we there? Amen. Amen. Are we there? Amen. Let's see what the word of the Lord says. Joshua chapter 5, picking up at that 10th verse, it says, the people of Israel continued to camp at Gilgal. They celebrated the Passover on the evening of the 14th day of the month on the plains of Jericho. Right away, the day after the Passover, they started eating the produce of that country. Unraised bread and roasted grain, and then no more manna. The manna stopped. As soon as they started eating food grown in the land, there was no more manna for the people of Israel. That year they ate from the crops of Canaan. And then this, when Joshua was there near Jericho, he looked up and saw right in front of him a man standing holding his drawn sword. Joshua stepped up to him and said, whose side are you on? Ours or our enemies? He said, neither. I am the commander of God's army. I've just arrived. Joshua fell face to the ground and worshiped. He asked, what orders does my master have for his servant? God's army commander ordered Joshua. He says, take off your sandals. Take the sandals off your feet. The place that you are standing is holy ground. And for just a moment, I want to use this as my thought. Thank you, Bishop Thomas Dexter Jakes, for saying, get ready, get ready, get ready. You ought to look at somebody and tell your neighbor, get ready, get ready. Thank you, Bishop Thomas Dexter Jakes. Get ready. I wish I had somebody who could say it with some authority. Get ready, get ready, get ready. One more time with everything you got. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Come on, give God a hand of praise. Get ready, get ready, listen, the songwriter says, this is my season for grace and favor. That's something that shouts most of us because it implies that God is about to do something extraordinary in our lives. That shouts most of us because it implies that after all that we've been through, our breakthrough is about to take place. That shouts most of us because it insinuates that it's not just our time, but it's also our turn. That's why we get so excited when we hear the song, this is my season for grace and favor. But can I submit to you on today that many of us missed that next line in the song. It says, this is my season, watch this, to reap what I have sown. I noticed that somebody got real quiet right there. This is my season, watch it, to reap what I have sown. I'm not suggesting at all that grace and favor are contingent upon your works. You do know that God can bless whomever he wants to, whenever he wants to bless them. But when we get into this whole thing about reaping and sowing, listen, there are two things that I need you to catch real quick. There are two things that I need you to catch real quick as it concerns with reaping and sowing and reaping. Number one is that if you really haven't sown much, you really can't expect to reap much. I said if you really haven't sown much, how can you fully expect to reap much? If you have not made any significant deposits, then what makes you think your withdrawal should be significant? Can I say that one more time? If you have not made any significant, somebody shout significant. If you have not made any significant withdrawals, what makes you think that your withdrawals ought to be significant? Your return oftentimes ought to look like what you previously invested. I heard somebody say, no prayer, no power. Little prayer, but somebody knows where there is much prayer. I wish I had a church right about that. Somebody knows that where there is much prayer, there is much power. Your return ought to look like what you invested. The second thing you need to understand is that for those of us who have sown much, listen, reaping and sowing are agricultural terminology. So when the songwriter talks about season, this is my season. What he's saying to you is that it's your season of harvest. Tell your neighbor it's harvest time. And you're not going to shout when I tell you about harvest time. Watch this. What is harvest time? That's a very great question. I'm so glad that you asked. I need you to understand that on a conceptual level, harvest time is a great time. I said on a conceptual level, harvest time is a great time. On a conceptual level, harvest time is the time that we've been waiting for. Yet on a practical level, it's a little bit different. You see, the reason why we don't fully understand the harvest time is because we don't live in an agricultural culture. We live in an app store society. And when we hear the word harvest, we tend to get happy. But if you really knew anything about harvesting, do I got any country folk in the house who know what it's like to be on the farm? If you really knew anything about harvesting, then you know that harvesting is the hardest part. I said if you really knew anything about harvesting, then you will understand that harvesting is the hardest part. There is no such thing as a happy ever after. And after you sow, it's time to reap. But I need you to understand that reaping doesn't mean relaxing. Reaping means it's time to go to work. Now you ought to touch your neighbor and say, get ready, get ready, get ready. I didn't hear a whole lot of enthusiasm that time. I need you to understand when it comes down to reaping, when it comes down to harvesting, that's the hardest part. But however, it is your harvest, and you ain't gonna look. Grain ain't gonna pick itself. Corn won't pick it. It's time to get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Verse 10 of the text. Verse 10 of the text, it says, the people of Israel continued to camp at Gilgal. They celebrated the Passover, and then they began eating the produce of the country. Of course you know that I can't preach the text unless I teach the text. Therefore, the context of the text is this. You understand that for 400 years, the children of Israel had been in bondage during their time in Egypt. And so God raises up Moses, and through Moses, God delivers his people from their captivity. It was only under Moses' leadership that God delivers his people from captivity. Under his leadership, the children of Israel passed through the Red Sea as on dry ground. But before they could walk into their promised land, God had to allow them to go through a period of preparation. Can I stop right here and ask you a quick question? What good is it for God to bless you financially if you don't know how to budget correctly? What good is it for God to give you a spouse when you haven't learned what it means to be satisfied in your singleness? What good is it for God to bless you with a brand new house and a brand new car when you haven't successfully stewarded the one you already have. Many of us want God to enlarge our territory when what we have right now is unkept. It's only after, watch this, only after you've been faithful over a few things that God would charge you to be ruler over much more. If he had to give it to you right, if he had to give it to you right now, you wouldn't be able to sustain it. If he gave it to you too early, you wouldn't be able to keep it for too long. That's why, watch this, that's why you had to go through what you had to go through. That's why you had to go through what you had to tell somebody it was necessary. It was necessary. It was necessary that you had to stay up last night. It was necessary that you had to learn how to eat when you had little to eat with. It was necessary. See, my grandma had something that was real magical. She could go into the kitchen and cook something that wasn't nothing even in there. When I opened the refrigerator, I didn't see nothing. But when Grandma opened the refrigerator, she saw opportunity. Grandma knew how to take her little bit and make a whole lot. It was necessary because she learned how to become a steward over the little bit that she had. But when she became a good steward over the little bit that she had, God said, since you've been faithful over your little bit, since you've been faithful over one cup, and let me go ahead and bless you with two. It was necessary for her to get, listen, she had to go to her lean days before you got to your fat days. I need you to understand that everything that you go through in your life, it was necessary. In order for you to handle your promise, you had to learn to deal with the process. But we don't like the process because the process looks like problems. My teacher don't like me, baby, that's your process. My boss don't hire me, she won't promote me even though I'm the best on the floor. Baby, that's part of your process. I'm trying to look out for my husband and tell him all the right stuff and he won't listen to me. Baby, that's part of your process. My wife just keeps on nagging, won't let me make one mistake. My God, that's part of your process. But we don't really like process because process feels too much like pain. Process looks too much like problems. But I need you to look at somebody and say, baby, yes, that stuff is necessary. Everything that you're dealing with, I need you to understand that it's necessary. It's necessary. Tell somebody and say, it's necessary. The only way I knew God was God because I had to go through some stuff. I found out who God was in my process. I heard my grandma tell me that he was a doctor in a sick room, but I couldn't verify that because I never got sick. But when I got sick, I found out for myself. I didn't have to lean on nobody else's word. I found out for myself that God is really God. Is there anybody here who found God in the process? Listen, oftentimes we waste stuff. We eat what we want off the plate, then we rake the other stuff away. God don't waste a thing that you ever dealt with. Everything that you ever dealt with, even when you had to lose somebody unexpectedly, baby, he was trying to make something out of you. Everything when you lost your job, he was trying to push you in another direction. I need you to understand that there is a purpose in your process. What's the purpose? What's the purpose? The purpose is God is trying to prepare you to deal with the real problems that's on your life. Tell your neighbor, it was necessary. It was necessary. Listen, the children of Israel had to go through a process that prepared them for the promise. So after spending 40 years in the wilderness, Moses dies, and the mantle that was on his life is passed over to Joshua. I don't want to say passed down. God doesn't pass anything down. He just shifts it over. So the mantle that was on his life is passed to Joshua, and it was under, watch this, it was under Joshua's leadership that the children of Israel passed through the Jordan as on dry ground. I told you once before, there is something on my life that is meant to be imparted into yours. In other words, there are some things that you will have the capacity to achieve simply because you're connected to me. I'm not saying that arrogantly. However, adversely, when you choose to walk rebelliously, you are only limiting your own ability. There is something on my life that will enable you to have the capacity to achieve. And I'm not saying that arrogantly. However, adversely, when you choose to walk rebelliously, you're only limiting your own ability. I wish I had a little bit more time to share this, but listen, after they crossed over, text lets us know that they set up camp in Gilgal, which is where we find ourselves in text. The text says that they continue to camp there. I hope you're catching where I'm going. They continue to camp there. The text lets us know that they continue to cultivate and to celebrate in that place. Understand, watch this, that they were on the verge of walking into their promised land. But they understood, catch me, they understood that until that time, they had to continue doing what they had been called to do. Saints of God, can I suggest to you that so many of us struggle right here? This is what I call the 7-hour syndrome. What's the 7-hour syndrome? I heard somebody over here ask that. And I'd be remiss if I kept going. I got to touch it. What is the 7-hour syndrome? The 7-hour syndrome is when you work wonderfully well for 7 hours, but somewhere in that 8th hour. The 7-hour syndrome is when you are the best employee you can be for 7 hours. But somewhere during that 8th hour, you ought to turn and tell somebody, don't get fired during your 8th hour. Don't get fired during your, you already know, in 7 hours, we the best on the floor. But that 8th hour, I might be in the break room for about 30, 45 minutes. So somebody knows that I'm bad for 7 hours. But in my 8th hour, I'm somewhere hiding, running from leadership. I'm the man, I'm a crew leader, I'm the shift leader in 7 hours. But my 8th hour, I'm somewhere ducking, looking at the clock. Is there anybody here who knows I'm the best at 7 hours? But baby, that 8th hour, you're going to have to find me somewhere chilling in my car. I'm ready to go home. In other words, don't pack up too soon. I need you to understand that we're on our way somewhere. But we're in our 7th hour. Watch this. We've been doing well for 7 hours, but it's in the 8th hour that we got to really show God who we are. I don't know who I'm talking to, but some of us got that 7-hour syndrome. Some of us got that 7-hour syndrome. I had a friend of mine named Hard Rock. Hard Rock, if you're listening, God bless you. I had a friend of mine named Hard Rock. He played, I ain't gonna tell all this stuff, but he played at the high school for 3 quarters. Hard Rock was the man. Hard Rock could average 20 points easy through 3 quarters. But the 4th quarter, Hard Rock always disappeared. Sounds reminds me of LeBron. In that 4th quarter, when crunch time, why do I like Kobe? Because Kobe can go over 18. But in the last 2 minutes, the black mamba mentality shows up. I need somebody to get a mamba mentality. Forget the mamba. Can we get a God mentality that when it shifts on the line, when everything is riding on your sacrifice, the Lord said, it ain't about me. It's all about you. So he gonna endure everything he got to endure because God was a real closer. Is there anybody who understands you got to be a closer in your life? You've been doing good for a long time, but now you're getting down to the stretch run. We're in the stretch run. We're in the stretch run. We're talking about take the land, right? We're already looking at some land. Talking to people about the land. Raising funds for the land. We've been doing well here for 7 hours. But we're in the 8th hour. Tell your neighbor, don't get missing now. What am I talking about? Don't stop tithing now. Don't stop showing up now. Don't stop evangelizing. Don't get here at 9:15 now. The service starts at 8:59. We're in the 8th hour, baby. Don't get... Don't get so prepared to move that you pack up too soon. You know how we do this. You got about 45 minutes left on the clock, but you already got your purse, your bag. You already hovering at the door. You already got your little swiper getting ready to hit the clock. You know, tell your neighbor, don't pack up too soon. Oddly enough, we had that problem in church. After the message, you throw your little one finger up. Tell your neighbor, don't pack up too soon. There's a blessing. Not only is there a blessing in the benediction, there's a blessing in the fellowship. So if you commit to 90 minutes, be here at least for 90 minutes plus. Because there's a blessing in the fellowship. There is something that happens in the fellowship that you might not get in the service. Don't pack up too soon. I don't know who I'm talking to, but you know. So the text says, the people of Israel continued to camp at Gilgal. They celebrated the Passover on the evening of the 14th day of the month on the plains of Jericho. Right away, the day after the Passover, they started eating the produce of the land. Text says, and there was no more manna. The manna stopped. As soon as they started eating food grown in the land, there was no more manna for the people of Israel. So not only do they continue to camp at Gilgal, but watch this, according to the text, they kept the Passover at Gilgal. Mind you, they were on the verge of walking into their promised land. When I say walking into their promised land, I need you to understand that they were getting ready for battle. They were making preparations, Reg, for taking the land. They were making preparations to move into their destiny. They were making plans to start anew. And yet, how were they getting ready? Joshua lets us know that they kept the Passover. Why is that significant? Understand that keeping the Passover was an act of obedience. Keeping the Passover was an act of obedience to God. So even though they were on the verge of a major breakthrough, they remained obedient. I'm preaching much better than you responded. Even though, watch this, even though they were in their 7th hour, they remained obedient. Even though they could have been doing other things that made more sense for the moment that they were about to experience, they remained obedient. And after they remained obedient, watch what the text says. The text says, and then the manna stopped. Watch the text. I'm going to read the text one more time. Right away, the day after the Passover, they started eating the produce of the country. And then there was no more manna. The manna stopped. As soon as they started eating food grown in the land, there was no more manna for the people of God. This is one thing. There's this one thing that I've learned during this acquisition of the building that we're about to walk into.
Yes, God. Thank you, Lord.
I've come to discover that there are times in life, watch this, catch this one, don't get offended when I say this. There are times in life when it's not enough just to be spiritual. In order to see the move of God, you're going to need to be skillful. It's not enough just to be spiritual. You're going to also need to be skillful. Manna was that which only God could provide. But the produce of the land was what they had learned to produce. Listen to me. After they got through praying and praising, somebody had to go and produce. I thank God for prayer warriors, but every now and again I just need a real warrior to ride with me. I thank God for prayer warriors, but every now and again I just need a warrior to ride. Listen, I've discovered in my life that every ministry needs a Mary and a Martha.
That's it.
Every ministry needs a Mary and a Martha. Mary might get the headline, but Martha does the heavy lifting. Mary might get the headline, but Martha does the heavy lifting. After you get through praying, somebody got to get up and move the chair. After you get through with your praise break, somebody got to break down. Mary might get up here and preach us up a storm. Bless God for Mary. I thank God for Mary, but I sure thank God for Martha. Why do I thank God for Martha? Because Martha gonna make sure that everything you need, you got it. Martha gonna make sure that when somebody come in that back door, they gonna be seated where they need to be seated. Martha's gonna make sure that everybody who's trying to attack me won't get to me. I need you to understand that I thank God for Mary, but I bless God for Martha. Every ministry, I don't know who I'm talking to. Maybe your name not Martha, maybe it's Mark. I don't know who I'm talking to, but every ministry needs somebody on the front line, and then somebody who got your back. Is there anybody who understands you might not have a glorious job, but the job, listen, it can't happen without your contribution.
Yes, that's it. It's all important. Yes, God.
Look at your neighbor and say, are you Mary or Martha? You got to be one or the other. You got to be one or the other. Because in order to achieve this thing, we're going to need everybody. And every ministry needs somebody on the front line. And then they need somebody on the back line. Your job may not always be celebrated. It may not always look good. You may not always have a decorated position. But what you provide is necessary. I thank God for we got the best hospitality ministry in the city. I put it on record that there is no other hospitality group like this group at RLC. When you come in, you're going to feel it, you're going to touch it. Listen, and when I ask them to seat you in a certain way, when you disrespect them, you disrespect me. Because God does everything decently and in order. And if we're going somewhere, we can't wait till we get there to start getting ready. We got to get ready right now. Tell your neighbor, get ready. Get ready. Get ready. See, the problem I think we have in life is sometimes we bring old baggage into new stuff. We bring old habits into a new relationship. But now is the opportunity to go ahead and get this stuff out the way. So when we walk in ready. We got to be ready before we even get there. I wish I had some folks that was ready. But I need you to catch this. I'm deviating just a little bit. I need you to catch this. God has placed in you the ability to produce. I need you to get that. God has placed in you the ability to produce. God has placed in you the ability to produce. It's not enough to be able to quote a whole lot of Bible verses, but you ain't picked up one thing. I ain't gonna say that. I think one of the detriments that men of God often display is we think because we up here preaching that we can't touch them. But because God has called us, that we always need to sit up front, that when the word comes, we don't have to touch it. The devil is a liar. But a true leader is a servant leader. Jesus displays that with his skill in the way he washed their feet. The man who could have been served came to serve. So what's wrong with your hand? God has called all of us to walk in this thing to be servants, to serve one another. There is no audience. There is an audience of one. We are all collective participants. And I don't know about you, but I thank God that he allows me to participate in the kingdom building. I get to serve. I get to serve. That's an honor. I get to serve. I know we don't quite have the prestige that the White House has, but you know, every official says, I serve at the pleasure of the president. Whether they voted for him or not, whether they like him or not, they still honor him enough to say, I serve at the pleasure of the president. You get an opportunity, you get the pleasure to serve. You get a chance to serve, all at the pleasure of the Holy Ghost. It shouldn't stretch you to serve. It shouldn't challenge you. Watch this, you're not above serving. Or even the marriage, after you get through shouting the church down. You can praise leaders, after you get through praising the church down. You still, after you get through being so spiritual, you still need to be skillful. Every ministry needs a Mary and a Martha. Verse 13 of the text, I'm moving. Verse 13, is that good? I'm trying to get you. The text says, verse 13 of the text. And when Joshua was there near Jericho, the text says he looked up and saw right in front of him a man that was standing, holding his drawn sword. Joshua stepped up to him and said, whose side are you on? Ours or our enemies? Verse 14, the man said, neither one. I'm the commander of God's army. Listen, in order to accomplish their assignment, I believe Joshua understood that they were going to need some help. And I know you've heard it said that when God gives vision, he also gives provision.
All right.
But yet, as it relates to this text, it's not that that's an incorrect statement. However, I do deem that it's incomplete.
Okay.
Not only will God give provision, this according to the text, I need you to understand that God himself will not just show up, but he'll also stand up in your situation.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. I know.
Not only will he give provision, I need you to understand that he will not just show up, but he'll stand up in your situation.
Yes, he will.
I didn't say that he was going to send somebody. I said that God himself will show up. What do you mean God himself will show up? You see, when I first read the text, I thought that God sent an angel to help them fight. When I first read the text, I thought it was an angel. He says, I'm the commander of the Lord's army. I assumed, I didn't do proper hermeneutics, I assumed that there was an angel that God had sent to help them fight. But when I continued to study the text, I discovered that Joshua started worshiping. And you do know that worship is reserved only for God. So the fact that Joshua started worshiping, it let me know who exactly he was worshiping. The fact that Joshua started worshiping, it let me in on who he was worshiping. So the fact that Joshua started worshiping, let's have church. I came to let you know that whatever you're in, God is in it with you. That sounds like good news. If you're getting ready to take the land, I need you to understand this, baby, this ain't gonna be no quick deed. They ain't gonna sign that thing over to you. They're not gonna just transfer it over to you. You'll walk away. I need you to understand, if you're gonna take the land, you're gonna literally have to take it. But that job is too big for you and you by yourself. So whatever situation you're in, I need you to understand that God will step in the midst of that thing. And he was, the text said the man was standing in front of him with a drawn sword. I need you to understand that no matter what you're in, no matter what you're facing, baby, you're not in this thing by yourself. I need you to catch the Lord is in it. I need you to understand the Lord is in it. While you're trying to get ready, he showed up already ready. Is there anybody, listen, I don't know what you might be, maybe you're dealing with some financial stuff, maybe you're dealing with some physical things, and you're trying to get ready for chemo, but I need you to understand that the Lord is already there waiting. Is there anybody who's grateful that God is not waiting, he's already ready. Whatever you're in, he's in it with you. I'm talking about a true ride or die. Some of us think we got some BFFs, but I promise you, there is a situation that's going to make your BFF slide out. Listen, I need you to understand that it doesn't matter what you're dealing with, you got a true ride or die in Jesus. I need you to understand. David said, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow, watch this, David found himself all by himself. But when David looked around, David said, I ain't got nothing to be scared for, because God is with me. He said, I'll never leave you. Nor forsake. I think oftentimes we've lost over that word never. But when you understand that never literally means never. When you understand that never literally means never. No, and not one time will he depart from your side. Watch this, even when you did act a fool, God will not leave you. Even when you did cuss out your manager, God will not leave you. Even when you did cheat on your wife, God will not. Even when you did cheat on your taxes, God will not leave you.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah.
I don't know about you, but I'm so glad to know that God will never walk away from me. It's a brand new school year. It's a brand new school year. It's not just a young people problem, it's a grown people problem. Because these are our children that we're sending into these schoolhouses where you can get suspended for having a phone, but you can walk around, you can walk down the aisle with a dress on and you're a boy. What? Your son can get suspended for being 5 minutes late, but your neighbor's son got a full skirt on. It's a brand new season. I don't know what you're about to venture into. But if you're really ready to take back some stuff that the enemy stole from you. See, the land is relative. The land is any area that you want to go into.
Yeah.
The land simply means any dream that you're ready to make possible.
Yeah.
The land means any adventure that you're about to go into.
Yeah.
The land means whatever your new season is.
Yeah.
And so if you're really ready to take the land, I need you to understand that, baby, you can't do it by yourself.
Yeah. That's right.
I believe Joshua started praying, and when he looked up, the Lord was standing there ready for him. See, the fact that he shows up with a weapon in hand, we think of the Lord as being peaceful all the time. He shows up with a weapon, not in his holster, but unsheathed. See, some of us go into situations, we go in half-cocked. We go in not ready, we go in with the wrong partners. But the Lord shows up ready.
Thank you, Lord. Yes, God.
He shows up ready. I don't know about you, but I'm so glad that I have a God who's ready for battle for me. He's ready to go to. If some folk won't go, listen, if everybody in the room gets to talk about you, they might just shut up. Yeah. Matter of fact, everybody get mad at Kyrie right now because they were talking about LeBron and Kyrie he was in the midst of it laughing. Some of us got some partners just like Kyrie. People can be talking about you, scandalizing your name, putting dirt all over you. But instead of defending you, they're going to be standing right there with them. You ever wonder why people always hear about you? Why are people comfortable talking about you to your friends? I need to check your inventory. Text lets us know that the Lord was standing with his weapon in hand, ready to go to war. Whatever move of God you feel is on your life, I need you to understand that the next step you take, you're not taking it by yourself. That should have blessed somebody's life. The next step. Listen, your dream will stay a dream until you get up and make it a reality. Your dream will stay a dream until you get up and make your dream a reality. Your dream will stay a dream until you get up and make it a reality. But listen, when you stand up to make it a reality, God will stand up right there with you. The next move you make, I need you to understand that you're not making it by yourself. But before you move, let me give you this last point and I'm gone. And so after Joshua sees him, he begins to worship. And then the Lord says, take off your shoes because where you're standing is holy ground. In other words, you can't move into your next destination until you reverence and respect the place that you're in.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you, Lord.
We get our eyes so fixed on what's coming.
Yeah.
And we begin to drop the ball. Last Sunday we had an awesome fellowship and we got an opportunity to play a little volleyball and the game got a little tough. And when we got 1 point away, my eyes got big. Because I wanted to hurry up and put them away. But watch what happened. When my eyes got big, I started playing out of character. I started making mistakes that I know I shouldn't make. Because my eyes were so focused on the win that I didn't take care of the moment. Saints of God, God is taking us somewhere. But we can't mess it up because our eyes are getting too big that we take our eyes off the moment. Scripture lets us know that was a priest, Pharisee, everybody who walked past them. On their way to church, but they kept walking past and beat up strangers. They were so focused on their destination that they didn't take care of the right now. There is somebody here who needs your attention. There is something in this moment that needs you to respect it and reverence it. But you don't want to shout because you don't want to mess up your hair for tomorrow. You just left the beauty shop yesterday, so you can't sweat out this new hair. So let me reserve my worship for the Lord because I need to make sure I'm pretty tomorrow. I got somewhere to go after I leave here, so I can't get my clothes out of order. Don't miss God in this moment because your eyes are fixed on what's coming. Don't miss God in this moment. I said, I know you're about to take Jericho, but before you do that, take off your shoes. Don't forget that anytime you're around me, it's holy ground. Anytime I'm in the midst of it, this is holy ground. Don't forget to worship and respect this. Redemption, I know we're going somewhere, but we can't forget where we are right now. That's all I came to share with you. Touch your neighbor and say, get ready. Get ready. Get ready. I need you to say it like you truly mean it. Get ready.
Get ready.
Get ready.
Get ready.
Get ready.
Get ready.